If you would, please stand, take your hats off, pledge to the flag. Trevor, how many new members have we got?
Proud to announce that we have 25 new members.
That's great. Remind you of the fish fry, and a lot of you have already signed up for it. Saturday, we're going to eat at 3:30.
We hold elections in April. I mean, we get a nominating committee in April, and we have our election in May. And then the people who are elected take office the following fall. Now, what we're going to do, first of all, is get a nominating committee together. And we will have a slate of nominees coming from the board. And then anyone who wishes to participate in the governorship of our wonderful club here and would like to volunteer, you can either see Jerry or see me. Now this is going to be an important election because we're losing our president. He has been with us for 8 years and he thinks it's time to retire.
Mr. Felix, tell us what you got going, bud.
We've got a fishing trip going out the 26th of March. That's 2 weeks, or a week from this coming Thursday. We're going back up to the St. Johns River. We had so much fun up there the last time, but we're going back. It's a beautiful river. They have great boats, nice 4-man pontoons that you can fish very comfortably from, and catch lots of fish like that. And have some fun. It's a cheap trip. It's only $35 per angler. A few more bucks per gas for your driver up and back, and if you buy some bait. But it's a very inexpensive day. You're going to have a lot of fun, and you're going to be on a beautiful river.
How many are going to fish in the bass tournament coming up Monday? All right, good. Cutoff was the 9th. So if you haven't signed up, I'm sorry, you're out. We have 60, I believe 62 anglers. It's down from last year. Last year we had 90. We're going to give away 2 seats on a guided trip with Grady Maynard out of Brooker Baton's Hat. Don't forget the anglers and the judges meeting on the 13th. That's Friday, 3 o'clock. Mulberry Rec Center, that's over at the end of Buena Vista, up near 42. We'll go over all the rules, regulations, what you can do, what you can't do.
Camp Villages, June the 9th. Did you discuss that?
No, go right ahead.
Camp Villages, June the 9th. We need everybody's help that, hang on a second. That's your baby.
Well, next meeting, I would very much appreciate you guys that are going to be here during the summer to leave me some names that I can start pulling from. We're getting started on that. We're going to have 50 kids. We're going to need approximately 14 people. And at this time, I'd like for Mr. Lester to bring his kayak for the kids again. Can you do it, Jerry?
I hope so. I'll check my calendar.
Please.
Mm-hmm.
But that thing will get underway at our next meeting, and I'll get you all familiar with what's going on.
Okay, every month I fish a bass tournament with the local club, and this week we fished Floral City. Floral City is about 25 miles west of here. It hooks up also to the Sala, that's T-S-A-L-A, Popka chain. I've not been there. It's a very beautiful body of water. Other than that, I can't say nothing about that lake. There was 18 anglers there this morning in the fog. 23 fish were weighed in at 1 o'clock. First place was a whopping 8.53 pounds. 3 fish. Big bass was 6.65. The guy that came in first place also had the big bass, also came off of the bed. He also caught the buck. So he got 2 fish right off of the bed. So that's all right. Toho. FLW Tour had their big tournament down there last Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. First place paid $125,000, a little more than what we paid out today. A little more. At any rate, JT Kenny won it. 4-day total for 20 fish was 76 pounds. So that gives you an idea on the size of bass that these guys catch. If you've not signed up with Trophy Catch, for you guys that are into bass fishing, even if you're not into bass fishing, you can catch an 8-pound plus bass. You really ought to sign up for Trophy Catch. TrophyCatchFlorida.com. If you've got a fishing license, you put your number in there and it almost just fills it out for you. You go to the website. 2 bass were caught on March the 8th out of Kingsley. And Kingsley's about 80 miles north of here. One bass weighed 10.1, the other one weighed 10.5. Leading trophy catch this year was a bass that was caught February the 8th by a buckeye. Was down here on a visit, and one day before he was to go back home, 15 pounds, 8 ounces. So that's leading right now in the state. That's worth $10,000 if it goes all the way through. That doesn't get him a boat, but that gets him a 1099 foul, which is all right. For the volunteers that built the habitat that distributed out in the Harris Chain of Lake, can't thank you enough. I talked to Dennis Renfro, who will be here he will be here in April. He will also thank you, but he wanted me to make sure that I conveyed his warm and deepest appreciation to the folks who helped out. So with this month's speaker, Mr. John Peyton he's our Captain John Peyton, pardon me, sir. He's our resident local crappie spec, sockeye, what's some other words? New light, paper mouth. If you're from the north, you call them crappies. Down here, you call them specks.
Calico bass.
Calico bass? That too, all right. At any rate, would you please give Mr. John Peyton, Captain Peyton, a warm welcome.
Thank you all. I've seen some faces up there that I've saw over the years. A couple people I've caught here in the last 2 weeks can attest to the kind of crappie you can catch here. Jerry and Joe Stone, I told them about a place and they went up there and they was catching 2-pounders out of the weeds. That's a little bit unusual. But the best crappie fishing, I've been doing it since the early 80s. When I started crappie fishing, I decided I was going to get good. And that's all I've ever done. I've never been bass fishing in my life yet. And I've caught up to 50 bass in a day in Alabama, crappie fishing. But crappie's my thing. And when I take somebody, I do my darndest for everybody to catch fish. Some days it works, some days it doesn't. And you all can think back in your memory right now, and all you're going to remember is the good days. You never remember them days when you didn't get a bite. I've been fishing the St. Johns River. I live all the way in Hudson, Florida. I used to live right down here in Leesburg, which the Harris Chain was right there. And circumstances made us move. And my wife keeps saying, why do you take them people all that way? I say, when they heard about these big fish, that's where they want to go. I can't say enough about the St. Johns River. I wish I lived right on it, but I can't. It's fantastic. From October through now, a 2-pounder is common. Just about guaranteed. So anybody wanting to go crappie fishing, most days I'm pretty good at it, some days I'm not so good. But that's, right now the fish are biting like that. It's all the bites you see. I took some guys from Kentucky the other day, get number one. They'd look at it. I said, trust me, get number one. Set the hook, 2-pounder. Normally, they try to break the pole. But like I'm telling you, summertime fishing here is fantastic. Just the shallower the lake, the better. Like Loch Loosa up here above, you about 30 miles, it's fantastic in the summer. There's one of your members here, he called me 4 years ago on July the 3rd. He said, John, we need another lesson. I said, when do you want to go? He said, as soon as possible. I said, I'll pick you up at the Cracker Barrel at 6:30 in the morning, July the 4th. We caught, estimated 275, 4.5 hours. He's here. Where are you at, Chaz? There he is back there. There'll never be another day like that. I took him 2 or 3 weeks ago to Woodruff, and I don't know what we catch, 25? We had some 2-pounders. You know, a 2-pounder, most of you, I don't know, most of you have never really actually caught a 2-pounder, I don't imagine. But the river's full of them. So if anybody's interested, I'll be right here. Thank you.
John, why would you explain the difference of fishing in Florida versus up north?
Well, the main difference fishing in Florida, except for the St. John's, there's no structure. A white crappie has to have wood cover to lay its eggs on to survive. A black crappie is a totally different species. They're shorter, they're wider, they're meaner, and they spawn on sand or gravel. That's the reason. I guess the St. John's is so good. Most of these little lakes off the side of it are just full of sand. And I can't say enough about Lake Woodruff. It's just 45 miles from here, but the only thing bad about it, it's got a 3.5-mile idle zone because of the manatees. And the first manatee you ever see, if he slips up behind you, he's going to scare you to death when he blows. I've had 7 of them go by me in a row. I had a baby come up and stayed with me 45 minutes. He lost his mom in November, and I called the Fish and Wildlife, and they come looking for him. That's how much they think of him. They look for him for 8 or 9 hours, trying to find him, take him in, because he had lost his mother. But like I say, you can't beat Florida for crappie fishing. Some of the lakes, the fish are just good eaters, but the St. John's River's got some giants in it. Do you know what long line trolling is? Throwing the 2 jigs out the back of the boat, maybe 75 to 100 feet, and pulling them about 1 mile an hour. Road runners work real well. You can actually slay them doing that. And spider rigging, the reason spider rigging got started was the national tournament trails started coming, and there was no pole limit in Florida. So some of these guys would have 30 poles out around the boat. Well, when I come to Florida the first time in '98, I was 1 pole jigging. So I stood 0 chance of winning. So they come down to 8 poles, and that's where spider rigging got its name. 8 poles out the front, sort of looks like a spider, I guess. But it's a fantastic way to catch fish. Open water fishing. Yes, sir.
More fun on an outflow lake.
Do what?
It's more fun on an outflow lake.
Well, I don't know. 2-pounder on a 14-foot pole is pretty much fun. 4 foot deep.
Can you explain that? Spider rigging, I'm not familiar with it. How you do it?
You've got rod holders in the front of the boat. There's two seats sitting side by side. You can actually do 4 poles out the front, 4 poles out the back if you like. And you use a long rod and you fish vertical. You put a 1/2 ounce or a bigger weight, and then you got a leader and you put a lure below that, tip it with a minnow, and slow troll. Some days they want it almost not moving, and some days you can get strikes at 1.2 mile an hour. I was in a tournament in Woodruff the other day, again, and a lot of my friends were fast trolling. I mean, they was going pretty fast. But I knew from experience up there 2 or 3 weeks before, I needed to be going dead slow. I weighed in twice the weight they did. But I made a fatal mistake when I got to the weigh-in. I thought I had 7 fish in the bucket, and I threw the rest of them out of the live well. I only had 6, and I come in third with 6 fish. But there's some big fish, and not every day I catch them, but every day I try. My wife says, "Don't you ever get tired of it?" And I said, "Not yet." I hate to give this secret away. Do you ever go out toward Lake George? If you're going to Astor, it's only 4 miles out there. As soon as you go into Lake George, there's some, I hate to give this away. There's some barge bumpers. It's just a narrow channel. If a big boat's in there, that's the only way he can get out, because if he misses it, he's in a 1.5 foot of water. You can go behind the left-hand barge bumper and catch all the crappie you want to catch. There's a bunch of pilings there in 6 to 13 foot of water. You drop them in there or a jig, and boom. It's fantastic. National tournament come to town. We couldn't catch crappie, and that's the truth. We couldn't catch crappie for catching redfish. Well, you know where the naval dock is?
Talk to these people.
Y'all, there's a naval dock up there that's got a bunch of pilings run out in the lake. And we caught redfish anywhere from 12 inches to 30 inches. And I'm not talking about 1 or 2. They'd bust our line. Lake George got a lot of salt content to it. Brackish. And Crescent Lake, which is the best big crappie lake in the state, it does the same thing. You get to the north end of it, you're liable to hook into a 40-inch redfish. Of course, 6 pound test line, you can stand 0 chance. They're big and they're mean. But you can catch flounder. You see all the mullets you could ever want to see. You catch a stingray every once in a while. You see a bull shark every once in a while. And woodruff or crescent, it's just they're coming off the ocean. And the north end of Lake George is really salty.
How close is the ocean?
50 miles.
And they come all the way there.
Well, you'll have in Lake Crescent, you'll have an 8 to 10 inch tidal flow every day, up and down. So the tide, where it goes out from the lake out into the river, Dunn's Creek, it gets so swift that you can't hold it with a trolling motor. When the tide's going out, or if it's coming in, it's pretty bad too. But anywhere associated with the St. Johns River is fantastic. Just trust me, it's fantastic.
On your jigs, are you tipping every one of them with minnows?
Everyone. Now, if you're
Large minnows, small minnows?
Small minnows. The guys I fish against, if they go to a bait store and they got large minnows, they dump them out and they go home. They're not going to fish a tournament with them. They can't win with them. For some strange reason, it might be in our heads, but we use minnows that long. Every one of us. We use 90% of the fishermen here in our club use a jig called a Ron Zip jig. You can find it here in the local stores. There's a skipper's jig, like down at, what's the base name? Rooker. He's got Ron Zip jigs, he's got skippers, and he's also got these. You boys from up north probably saw, this is an ice jig. They're fantastic. They can't get any better than an ice jig for crappie. Trolling, slow trolling. Pink is the best color. Chartreuse is good, purple, yellow, orange, but mainly pink. I'm going to fish a tournament on Crescent Saturday. I'll have 4 poles. My partner will have 4, but I'm going to have 4 of these on. That's how good they are. Any more questions?
You hook them through the eyes or through the chin?
I hook them through the bottom lip out the top so they swim natural. You're moving slowly, so that minnow's going natural instead of side goggling. Flash boot tape.
Yeah, the translucent pearl flashes.
Yeah.
Is that your favorite color, Dale?
Yeah, and pearl.
Pearl.
Pearl. I don't want any other color but pearl. I made my own for years. I bought the yellows, the greens, the pinks, the reds. Pearl.
But I mean, because 10 or 12 years ago, that's the only tail Ron had. Well, now he's expanded, but
By the Pearl,
by the Pearl, you got that right.
and by the ice tubes. Trust me, they're a fantastic thing.
Bobbers.
I prefer not to have a bobber in the boat, but I've got a few. Some people want to go dipping. That's what I used to do, I straight line out the front, or I pull out the back long line. If you've never long line, it's a fantastic feeling to set the hook on a 2-pounder 100 feet behind the boat. And that rod goes like that. And then reel him in slow. Because if you reel him in fast, you're going to pull him off. Or stop, well, we do in a tournament, we stop the trolling motor. And then reel him in and start it all over. Anything else? All I'm saying is go Cats.